Hi everyone. Let's say you are coding a PHP application and in some point you want to calculate how many days are between two dates. Or you have some kind of accounts that have time limits and you want to check if they are still active. If you don't know how to work with a date-time object in PHP, you are in the right place. In this example, we are going to find out if our 30 days subscription is still active or has expired. So let's jump to the PHP file and start coding. First of all, let's see what information we need. We need the date that the account was created, let's say March 6, 2022. We need the number of days that the account will stay active. This will be 30 days. And let's say that those values are coming from the database. This has nothing to do with the tutorial, but in most cases this will be true. Next, we need the date that the account expires. If this line of code is a little overwhelming, let me hard code this so it makes more sense. To figure out the expiration date, we are going to write inside quotes the date that the account was created and we are going to say plus 30 days. Notice that this is a string. We are not doing any math here. When we are dealing with dates in PHP, this is valid code. You will see that in a second when we are going to create date-time objects from these variables. Next, I'm going to create date-time objects from the account created and the account expires variables. To create a datetime object from a given date, we have to use the dateCreate function, which takes as an argument a date formatted string. I will have a link in the description below so you can learn more about date formats. Now, the origin variable is holding a datetime object created from the date March 6, 2022. Now I will do the same thing with the account expires date. Before we continue, let us see the structure of a datetime object. Let's do a var export on the expire variable. We see that the object has a date, a time zone type, and a time zone property. Now, if we take a look at the date property, we notice that the expiration date is set to 30 days after the creation date. That is what we want. Now let's clear the screen and take a look at a function called dateDiff. The dateDiff function takes two arguments, two datetime objects. The function compares those two objects and returns the differences in the form of an object. Let's do again a var export and see what are the differences between the origin and the expired datetime object. Let's change this to the explore variable. We have to reload the page and we see an object with a bunch of properties. Those properties are stating the differences between the two objects. Now the property that we care about is the days property. We see that it has a value of 30. That tells us that the two datetime objects are 30 days apart. This is going to be useful later on. Okay, now let's clear the screen and let's see if we can use the datetime objects in an if statement. I will use an if shorthand syntax and I will check if the origin object is less than the expire object. Let's bring the browser in the screen and reload the page. And we see that is true. And it makes sense because the expire object has 30 days more than the origin object. Now let's do the opposite to do one more check. Let's see this time if the origin is greater than the expire object. Let's bring once again the browser in the screen, reload, and we get false. And that is correct. Now that we know how those objects behave, let's create a final one, and that is a datetime object from today's date. And by the way, today is April 11th, 2022. Now that we have all the information that we need, let's use an if statement to check if the account created on March 6, 2022 has expired or is still active. Remember that the account was set to stay active for 30 days from the time created. Let's see our if statement. Now here we are saying if expire is less than today, then the account is expired and we use the dateDiff function to see how many days ago was this. And we print a message on the screen saying your account has expired, whatever days we will get from the days property. If the expiry date is greater or equal than today, that means that the account is still active. And we use again the dateDiff function to get the remaining number of days. And we print out again a message saying your account will be active for another whatever days will give us the days property. Let's check it out. Let's run the PHP file and we see that the account has expired 7 days ago. Let's go back to the script and change the account created date to, let's say, March 20. Let's run again the script and we see that the account will stay active for another 6 days. And that's it for today. We saw in a basic level how to work with the datetime object. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like my content, hit the subscribe button. It will help me a lot. Thanks again.